Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're watching Greenwave TV, alternative media television. It is, of course, Tuesday, July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July. I want to wish all of you a very happy and safe Independence Day. But I want to dig into some very big, key stories that I want you to be aware of as we approach the holiday. Now, I reported yesterday that Iran is responding to the economic sanctions and the oil embargo that has recently been implemented by the European Union, the United States, and Western powers like Israel. Now, what can Iran do from here? What does it have up its sleeve? Because Iran's economy is in tatters. They are living through sky-high food prices at the moment. They're experiencing hyperinflation of 70+%, some 20+% per day. What can they possibly do, and how can they react to the economic sanctions that are crippling their country economically? And more importantly, how can they respond to the oil embargo itself, which just took effect and has taken shape on Sunday? Now, the only thing that I believe that they can do is to help drive oil prices through the roof. And that is why Iran leaders have met, and they met on Sunday, and they're now signing in and passing into law a closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this narrow strait accounts for 20% of the world's oil trade, 35% of all seaborne oil traded throughout the world. And so crippling that shipment and closing that shipment to countries that are against Iran and that are implementing sanctions will have a profound effect on the world's oil trade. Now, how will Iran implement this? Well, based on reports, what Iran is considering is placing landmines, mines in the water to disrupt that shipment. And the United States, as a response, is now sending countless Navy vessels and adding forces in droves in the Persian Gulf, signaling to Iran, you better not mine the Strait of Hormuz. And if you do, we're going to sink your Navy vessels to the bottom of the ocean. So this is all escalating. The tensions are rising as Iran is responding really in the only way that they can, by attempting to push oil prices higher in response to this oil embargo and in response to these economic sanctions. Now, we need to better understand, because this is what is clear to me. This is what is abundantly clear, and I want you to keep this in mind. Obama has to go to war and escalate the war in Iran and Syria before the November elections. Why? Why do I think this? Now, since Obamacare's upholding, since the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of it, this has greatly galvanized Republicans. This has greatly galvanized Mitt Romney. He's raising millions of dollars. The Republican Party is now coalescing, unlike really we've seen in years. I believe that unless Obama ignites war and ignites the Third World War, he will lose in November. Any escalation in Iran, any escalation in Syria, we're seeing this from the likes of people like Hillary Clinton, will only help Obama and his campaign and help seed him for the 2012 re-election so that he can continue on FDR-like policies, as he said so himself. The greatest thing since the implementation of Social Security is how he's referred to Obamacare. But what people have wrong, what a lot of pundits have wrong, is when they assume and they talk about Obama's implementation of healthcare being very socialistic in nature. When they talk about the bank bailouts being socialistic, I believe they have that wrong. This is more along the lines of a fascistic regime. This is fascism, not socialism. And so Obama, what is clear to me, and we have to look at this politically, must escalate tensions in the Middle East, must escalate the war, or he will lose in November. So we need to pay close attention to this. I've got a great show today. I'm going to have Falcon on during the second hour, who's our expert, who does a lot of reconnaissance, who's going to break down the details of what I just discussed. So we know exactly what the threat level is in Iran and Syria and where this heads and goes next. You know, one of our most popular videos that we've ever put out has had over 300,000 plus views, and it talks about how we're going to go to war with Iran. And we put out this content years ago because it's all been a part of the plan of our regime, the United States government, all along. As a result of the economic collapse that we're living through today, as a result of the currency collapse, as a result of our bankruptcy here in the United States and the bankruptcy of Europe. I also have some other key stories today. In fact, former Prime Minister Nicolas Sarkozy of France home has been raided due to election fraud, is what they're saying the reason for the ransacking of his home in France. So we've got all this shakeout occurring in Europe still. Countries are still needing bailouts, but you need to keep your eye on oil. You need to keep your eye on Iran. You need to keep your eye on Syria. Iran also announced today that they're combat ready and that they're actually launching missiles, kind of a pseudo war, if you will, to test run a retaliation against any strike from Israel, the United States, or the West. And they've said many times before that if they are attacked, this will give them every right to wipe Israel off the map, wipe Israel off the planet. And, you know, we've got to better understand where this is all headed and the reasons for it. Great show today. Click that link in the description box below. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television, and I just delivered the Daily Wave. Hard-hitting and in your